Welcome to the U World Order Showcase Program, the platform dedicated to highlighting visionary entrepreneurs and coaches who are shaping the U World economy. Each week, we're celebrating the power of the individual and coming together to uplift and empower one another to reach new heights of growth and prosperity as we showcase a coach, company, or entrepreneur stepping out to be the change they want to see in the world. With our collective efforts, we're creating a world where every person has the tools to realize their full potential and thrive like never before. Join us today as we chat with this week's guest to learn how they got started, what they're doing, and how they're making a difference in shaping the U World Order.
Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase Program. Today we're talking with Lisa Boehm, and her life changed forever when her daughter Katie died suddenly in a car accident. She quickly discovered that our society struggles with death, loss, and grieving, and has made it her mission to change that. In her book, Journey to Healing, A Mother's Guide to Navigating Child Loss, she shares her experience with grief and how it intensified her love for her daughter. Now she focuses on gratitude and living intentionally as a way to honor her daughter's memory. Lisa is an author, speaker, grief educator, and angel mom. Lisa is also the creator and facilitator of the Hope and Healing Together community, where she helps bereaved moms carry their pain and discover joy again. Lisa loves sharing inspiring messages of hope in the presentations that she gives as well. Please help me welcome Lisa to the show today. Welcome, Lisa. It's so nice to have you here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing, how you got started,
Sure.
What motivates you?
Absolutely. About 10 years ago, I was working as a health coach and worked primarily with women who didn't have enough time to fit in a healthy lifestyle. And then the worst thing possible happened, and we lost our daughter in a car accident. And my wellness business shifted at that point because I realized that resources for grieving families were sorely lacking. So still working as a coach, still helping people, and frankly, still using a lot of the same tools and language, but to just a different group of people. And as you and I were discussing prior to hitting record, my voice, my message is different than most in the grief coaching sphere. And that is because I really try to deliver the message of hope. And some people don't resonate with that at all. I'm sure all of your coaches listening, that's part of having an ideal client, right? When we think we can serve everyone with a general message, we really serve no one. So, once I realized that I had to speak my truth and I had to say, yes, I do believe life can be beautiful and meaningful again, even after this horrible tragedy, I got some hate mail but I also know that the people that find me are the people that I really, truly want to work with and that I can help.
That is such an important message that almost every coach that I've ever met, and I've met quite a few of them at this point, they have this heart to just help people. We're just servants, and we want to help everyone. And many of us are moms, and that's just like the mom hat. I can help you with that.
Right.
But you really serve your clients best if you're really narrowed in on what it is that you can help them do, and you just stay in your lane. Yes, you can help other people. If they're your friends and you want to give them some advice, they probably aren't going to take it, but you can give it to them anyway.
That's right. And you know what? It took me a long time, even in the wellness sphere, In fact, that was even a more important area, to have a crystal clear message, who I helped, how I helped them, because I think it's so easy to say, oh, I give people more energy, help them learn how to, have more energy, or, live their best life. And while these are all things that we all want, I think we really need to dial down our messaging.
And happiness.
Yes, absolutely.
Everybody defines happiness differently, so it's really not quantitative. And when you're helping somebody figure something out specifically, like you help people overcome grief, but in a way where they can find happiness again. And hope. Hope is different than happiness. Hope is the idea that happiness can come and you can accept happiness rather than feeling like you're going to be stuck in grief forever, or that you have to be stuck in grief forever, because I think that happens to people too. What's your experience with that?
Oh, 100%. I mean, my daughter was 17 and a half when we lost her. We have our son at the time was 15. He's now 23. I had friends, neighbors, coworkers, people that I've known for years come up to me and say, that your marriage is over now, right? Or, that your son is going to be a drug addict and have mental health issues forever, right? Even in the grief community where, I started reaching out for help, the message that I saw, heard, and read was that my life was over. And I thought, I can't do this. I am not wired that way. And that's when I started kind of branching out on my own, and I thought, well, maybe there's one other person out there, that wants to hear a message other than these messages. I also wrote a book along the same lines. But it's really the last couple of years that, as a quote unquote coach, I call myself more of a mentor, but as a coach, that I've really been able to step into my truth. And the more I speak the words about hope and happiness and, all of these kinds of things, the more I am attracting the people that are curious about this messaging. They may not be there psychologically. They may not be, believing that this is possible, but they're kind of leaning in, listening, because this first time they've heard it.
It's so hard to live in that vibration of, everything's over now. What am I going to do? You can't move forward when you're paralyzed in that grief. And grief is just paralysis. It's like your body trying to adjust to a new reality for you. And then being able to give people permission, really, to have hope, to move out of the grief, to move on with their life, and to honor the person that they've lost, but still be able to enjoy life because you're still living.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's breaking through a lot of different preconceived notions, really. Right. And people feeling like they can't be happy because, oh my gosh, my neighbor Sally might think that I'm not grieving my child anymore. And I said, well, the fact is we're going to grieve forever. I mean, really? Forever. Just like you love your living children or your spouse or your special person forever, you're going to grieve that loss forever. But my message is that we can carry grief in one hand and joy, love, laughter, whatever, gratitude in the other hand. They're not exclusive of one another. They don't cancel each other out.
That's such a powerful message. How do you normally find your clients? What's your marketing idea?
You know what? I don't know that I've got this nailed down yet, but what currently works for me is sharing content on social media. That's usually how people find me. I have a love-hate relationship with social media, but it's where people are. That's the fact. But usually they'll see a blog that I've written that's something that resonates, or they'll see a reel on Instagram, something short that's, made them think about something. They want to check out my profile. I try as much as possible to have links to all kinds of free resources wherever I can, on my website, on Insta, on Facebook, doing podcasts like this, or, in the grief sphere. I've also started speaking, but my message on the stage is a little bit different. Not everyone has lost a child, right? Not everyone can relate to that, but talking about resiliency, burnout, stress. I mean, these are all things that are directly related to what we face in the grief sphere. So I
losing a job or getting disabled 100%. Suddenly, those are all things that cause grief in our lives. And
right. In fact, my day job, I've spent 32 years working in oncology. So I give radiation treatments to cancer patients. And when people say, well, how can you feel gratitude after losing your daughter? And I said, I work with families, many families who don't get to have 17 and a half years with their children. I got 17 and a half healthy, beautiful years with my daughter. And I've also been speaking a lot because of my connection in healthcare, speaking to healthcare workers. We are so ill-equipped. You would think that doctors, nurses, pharmacists, radiation therapists, oncology professionals are so well versed and trained in grief. No, I literally had half a page of notes from an outdated textbook. And that's all anybody that's newly graduating has too. It's startling. So anyway, I do some lunch and learns and that kind of thing with the healthcare professionals.
That's a very needed.
Oh yeah, sadly.
Pursuit. Yeah. And you would think that they would get it because, they deal with it all the time. I mean, by the time people are doing chemo, they're kind of close.
Having worked very closely with doctors for 32 years, I can say with all honesty that I think I've worked with one physician who was comfortable saying the D word, death, and having those hard conversations. I can give you this treatment. I can offer you this treatment. Your quality of life may not be so good. Here are the facts. You will die from this disease. So let's look at how we can, and have this amazing conversation with his patients. He's one. And I don't want to pin this all on physicians, but nobody wants, even as human beings, none of us are getting out of here alive. And I hate to be glib about it, but that's the fact.
Yeah.
And, my father-in-law, for example, is in hospital. He's okay-ish. He's not well. Nobody's had this conversation. My husband's siblings, they refuse to talk about the possibility that dad could die. And it's just, we need to have better skills at having it. And it's a hard conversation, but we need to be better equipped to talk about this.
Talk about birth either. Since birth and death have become a hospital event. Mm-hmm. Instead of a natural process of life. Mm-hmm. You're born, you live, and you die. And my daughter-in-law is getting ready to have a baby, probably coming today or tomorrow. She has no idea about the process. And, you kind of drip to her. I've had 5 kids, so I kind of know the drill. But You do that, this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen, and the hospital is going to try to push you to do this and this and this, but you don't have to. The baby's going to come when the baby's ready. The more you let them intervene, the faster you're going to end up with other complications. But you can't just because they just don't listen to that message. And death is kind of the same way. Death is a process. It doesn't happen usually quickly. You go through steps and then it happens. Just like birth. Birth is a month-long process. It's a 9-month process, but the actual process of giving birth usually happens over a period of a month to get your body going, and you get there. But I don't know. It just seems like once we moved it to the hospital's responsibility, we stopped talking about it. We stopped teaching our children about it. We stopped being able to comfort each other because we don't know what the process is.
Yeah.
So what is your book about, and what's the title of it?
It is called Journey to Healing, A Mother's Guide to Navigating Child Loss. And that's exactly what it's about. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't my story. Mm-hmm. I think when people pick up a book, it's for one of two reasons. It's either for entertainment or it's to gain knowledge. So I wanted the reader, who was probably going to be a grieving mother, when she picked up that book, that she was actually going to come away with some helpful strategies and tools and some hope. So I wove my own story through, but it's much more of a how to survive. And there's over 100 different tips and strategies, small baby step type things that parents can take on this journey.
Sounds very helpful. And do you have like a coaching program? I know you do workshops and you're a speaker, but you have actual programs to help people through this?
As a coach, I think we, at least I did, you kind of throw spaghetti at the wall for a while in your early stages just to see what works. So I wrote a book and I quickly realized, okay, well, there's very few times in my life that I've read a book and thought, now I know everything about this. I'm good, right? It's the same with grief. So I thought, well, gee. So then I created short courses, 6 to 8 weeks, but same thing. I just felt so bad at the end of the course because then these women just thought, well, now what do I do? So I resisted this for a long time just because it seemed like it might be a yucky thing, but I've actually created a membership. Initially, I thought, oh, yuck. Who's going to want to be a member of this awful club? But I tried it out on a pilot project and I'm about 1.5 years in, and it's been a wonderful thing. It has a very low cost entry. And we have a very active community. And again, I've had people come in, try it. It's not their jam. They leave. But it's, the feedback that I get is just phenomenal. We have guest speakers in there. We have different workshops on journaling. We have one of our members is actually a yoga instructor. So she'll lead us through grief yoga. What else do I have coming up here? All kinds of things where we will do different things. I had a retreat last year, but it's just really based on community, people who know exactly what you're going through, even if we've lost children of different ages or through different means. When it comes right down to it, you know. So that's just been a beautiful thing. And that's the biggest source of revenue that I have. I do some one-on-one work, not that often because I've just restricted it now to people who are in the membership, just because I know the work they've done, I know where they're at. And when we have a session, we can really hit the ground running. My book is another source of revenue. And then speaking is the last.
That sounds really good. What's the one thing that you would like the people listening to this podcast to take away?
You just got to keep trying. Like if you're, like I said, sometimes you got to throw spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. I think we can get so stuck in our own heads. Oh, I should be doing this. Oh, look at that person. Oh, they've got this, and this. I have to have all that stuff too. Do what feels right for your heart, because that's where you're going to be able to pour in all the energy, and people are going to see that as really authentic, right? If you are trying to not necessarily copy, but, do what the masses are doing, it's not going to feel authentic to you, and it's not going to feel authentic to your followers. And it's okay to be different. It's okay to have a different message. It's okay to do different things. You just have to find what works. And sometimes that means falling on your face, trying something, throwing it out there, no interest. Okay, moving on. I don't think that's a bad thing. I've come to realize that those are excellent learning moments. That's the universe nudging us back into our lane.
Yeah, and sometimes when things don't come easy, you're not supposed to be doing that.
Agreed.
When you're operating in your zone of genius, things are just easy. They just happen for you.
I agree.
So people can get in touch with you through your website, through your Facebook group?
You know what? I don't have a Facebook group anymore, but everything that you want to know about me, whether it's speaking or, social media contacts, anything like that, best thing is to go to www.griefsupportformoms.com, and everything is right there.
Perfect. We'll make sure that we put those links in the description of the podcast. Thank you, Lisa, so much for taking the time to chat with us today. It's been really an honor to have you.
Thank you for tuning in to the You World Order Showcase program. We hope today's episode has inspired you to consider how you can leverage your unique skills and talents to be the change you want to see in the world. If you're ready to take the next step and turn your passion into a 5-figure part-time business, we invite you to schedule a private consult at heartlifecoach.com. During our Passion to Profit Breakthrough session, we'll work together to identify your strengths, clarify your vision, and develop a tailored plan for achieving your goals. Don't settle for mediocrity or let fear hold you back from pursuing your dreams. With the right guidance and support, you can build a thriving business that brings you joy, financial freedom, and the opportunity to make a positive impact in the world. Head over to heartlifecoach.com today to schedule your Passion to Profit Breakthrough session and take the first step towards creating the life you've always wanted. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the You World Order Showcase program.